Playboy Academy. Today we want to talk in view of the current situation, which is almost global. There's inflation everywhere, and small scale producers finding out that the moment they go back to the market, the price of raw materials has increased, and some are wondering how would they recover their costs, or how would they be able to replace the material they have used with very unstable pricing situation. So today we want to talk about procurement management in times of inflation. I know there are a lot of opportunities and systems that is available to big or medium organizations, something like EOQ, economic order quantity, which give you the optimal balance between storing and producing. And we also know about the just-in-time mechanism, in which you have a kind of a contract with vendors, with suppliers, which they bring in the materials just as when you need it, thereby eliminating the need for storage and all that. Many small-scale operators may, not be aware of all this, or it may be rather be too cumbersome for them to decipher. So I think the most important here we want to do today is to bring this thing in simplest terms for somebody who is a small-scale producer of thing or the other. They discovered that they say when you go to the market to buy your materials to use to make good for customer, by the time you are going back, your gain from your previous gain has been eroded, because what you charge, the cost of replacing the material you used previously may have been more than what you have charged, the last customer, thereby depleting your bottom line. Yes, there are instances where you may always pass the cost to the customers, but then we also look at how elastic, price elastic that you can maintain. Can you keep on increasing your price and still have customers or people patronizing you? Those are the challenges that you have, at a time like this. Some have even thought of packing up altogether. Before you do that, I think you have to consider certain things you need to do to edge against this inflation. It's beyond anybody's control. It is what it is, but if you are a business person, it is important for you to understand what you can do, at least to get the best out of the situation. Now, to discuss this issue, we'll look at production from two categories. Number one, do you produce to order, or do you produce to market? So this will determine the kind of procurement system you will use. Let's talk about production to order. If you are, for instance, a caterer, and somebody order cake from you, and you have to do the costing, almost immediately. So you can quickly check what is the price of all the ingredients, all the inputs that you need from the market at that moment, and based on that price, you can now the cost of the materials, you can now charge your customer accordingly. There are times it may also be appropriate, or at times it may not be inappropriate. It may be inappropriate. So depending on how soon the customer is confirming the order, because the way the situation is now is just like, even you check the market price in the morning, in the afternoon it could have changed. Sometimes it could change for worse. It's keep increasing almost on the hourly basis. So that is what you have to consider. So if it is you want to produce to order, so you ask the customers, okay, can you make this for me? You ask the question, when would they need it? When will you be commissioned? Because sometimes you also have to let them know that the price of materials is not stable. So because of that, you have to get a firm idea about, when do they need it, when do they want to commit to getting the product from you. So on that basis, you can say, okay, based on the current market, or you can also plan ahead, based on your experience. Maybe the cost is like $10, for example, the current cost. You can even say the fact that, okay, maybe this guy is not going to order today or tomorrow, maybe we order in the next 2 3 days. You can choose to build your cost by adding maybe additional $2, so as your cost or as your input, so that at the end of the day you are hedging against any increase that may happen in the market. You may not always get it accurate, because at the end of the day, yes, you have added additional $2 to make it 12. By the time the order is given and you go to the market, you may be surprised. You may get it at $11.50. You may also get it at $13. So it is still a kind of a gambling here and there. So based on that, you can quickly say, okay, based on the current market situation of materials, this is so much that I will charge you for the product. And of course, you have to add your markup, to get your profit margin from the process. That is what you can do if you are producing to order, and that is the simplest amount of it. Okay, you can also say, okay, what if I store some of this material that can take me for like 2 weeks, like 3 weeks, like 1 month, where I wait order from customers. Yeah, that is a good idea. If you buy at a time that the product is a bit cheaper and you store them, provided you meet all the conditions for storage. I mean, you avoid wastage, you avoid the material becoming obsolete, or you guard against theft. Then you guard against all damages that could occur as a result of storage. So when you have met all those conditions, you can store. But then I would still advise you, when the customer asks you, you should also be thinking about the replacement cost of the material. That is an idea, basic idea that you have to be thinking in a time of inflation. Like I said earlier on, you may not always be able to predict it accurately, but if you have the mindset of a replacement cost before you charge for your product, you may be at the safer side than otherwise. There is a need to also be mindful that there is the maximum limit you can charge for the price because of other factors like competition, like people may have the same material in bulk and they just want to quickly dispose them all before they get damaged or they get spoiled or before they get to the expiry date. So there are other factors that you should be mindful of about your competitors. That is if you are producing to order. If you are producing to market, that is, you are just producing and you are taking to the market, it's a bit more complicated. But again, the major challenge is also how much can you charge when you are producing. How frequently can you be charging increasing your price? Yes, when we go to the market to get the input, the seller of the inputs, they increase them each as they deem fit, and they tell you it's not their fault, that is how they bought it and stuff like that. Can you, as a producer, the final producer, you have also the same privilege, in your market, in the particular market that you operate in? When you take it to the market, can you always determine the price that you will charge? And can you always increase the price to move in the direction of the inflation? If you cannot do that, then again, you have to always be looking at how you can maybe think of average cost, of the material as a part of replacement cost. Replacement cost will still be relevant for you, but it's a bit more complicated for you because you don't know at which point the market will pick your products. So that is the major thing that limits you more than the guy that is producing to order. So what you do in that case is that you can decide to store, again, fulfilling all those conditions, because storage has its own challenges as well. If you have all those coordinates I mentioned earlier on, if you fit them, then you decide to stop. So before you fix your price, you can decide to take an average price of material maybe for a week or two, and you can take simple average and you use that one as part of as your costing price. So, and if you have a fixed markup, then you add your markup and you sell at that price. Again, there are also two layers here. For instance, if you produce and your product is evacuated by a distributor, again, this is another issue. You have to have a kind of a conversation and understanding, between you and your distributors. Then again, you have to understand the market. How does the market move? How does the market respond to your product? There's some market that your product is in high demand, and there are fewer competitors. And again, maybe your product enjoys some prominence because of the quality and all that, and that can give you a little advantage over the other. But if you don't have those advantages, so what do you do? Because what is important is, okay, when the product is gone out and you want to produce another one, you go to the market to buy another input and the price has gone up. So the issue of replacement cost has become very unstable, because there are instances the prices are just increasing almost on an hourly basis. So it's a bit difficult, a bit complicated to track down, the price of your input. Again, remember that these prices are beyond your control. So it's either you patronize or you don't patronize. I always advise that when you produce anything or you source your material from somewhere, you should have alternative sources too. That also could help. Though sometimes the general inflation affects every source, but sometimes it may not be on equal basis. Then again, there are some suppliers that, because you have enjoyed some level of patronage for some time, they may decide to reduce the margin they are making from you because you are a reliable and consistent customer. So these are the kind of advantages that you may also take in the time of inflation, or you book for supply ahead of time, and I know in small business they don't do this like futures and all that all those sophisticated economic process. They don't embark on that by SMEs. They just deal with this thing as they come. So you can't pin down the price for your product in the future. You have to go to the market as and when you need your input, and you get your input and put it there. So when you are producing at a time like this, as a small scale producer, you should always be thinking of replacement cost. What will it cost you to replace this particular input or that input? Yes, you may not be able to predict absolutely exactly what is going to happen, but it's always better for you to make some rough estimates. You have to now begin to understand the process of the patterns rather of price in the particular of a particular input. And if you keep record, I keep on emphasizing, it enables you a lot. To guide you to be able to make some reasonable predictions, about the direction the market is going. At the other end of the spectrum, so what happens if I have stored and suddenly the price falls? The price drops. The price of the input drops. So how am I going to recover? Well, again, at that moment, if you have excess stock of that particular input, that particular material whose price has dropped, that's the risk, part of the risk of doing business. That is the part of the risk of unpredictability. So at the time of inflation, I think it's almost not too good to overstock. So don't overstock your products at a time like this. So be very careful. Be mindful of your replacement cost rather. Be mindful where you should know whether you are producing to order or you are producing to market, and you should also have adequate knowledge of the price movement. Take note of those price movement, and you can even draw maybe a simple series analysis. Makes I don't want to speak those big grammar here. You can make a simple prediction of movement. Okay, this price increased by 10 cents or 20 cents today, tomorrow, and all that. Last 1 week, last 2 weeks. You can try to maybe draw a simple graph to tell me how the price is moving, because the bottom line, you want the customer, you want to recover as much as the cost and your markup, from whatever you are selling. So you don't want to just produce and not make any profit on top of what you are producing. And the price of the input is beyond your control. So you have to take action, not just complaining and grumbling. Again, this is where good record keeping, come into play. And of course, there is a place you can also, enjoy discount because of continuous patronage. Or some customer will say, okay, this price is likely going to increase, but I can still give you this based on this is an old stock. I can still give you, based on the old price of those things. But again, those that sell the input, the material also, they will also think about their replacement cost. So if I sell this one off, what will it cost me to replace them from the market? What is the price from the source of this material? Those are the things you have to consider at a time like this. It's a bit difficult, it's a bit complicated, but we have to continue to be in business. And to continue to be in business, you have to also add knowledge to some of the things you do. That is why we here have decided to be giving all these tips so that you are not alone. You can gain insight from what we are trying to teach you. Listen to them, practice those things, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. So it is tough, but then it is not the time to quit either. We have to find a way, to edge all this thing that is happening to us. We also wish that this inflation will not tarry for too long, but it doesn't look like it's going to go away very, very soon. So we have to develop, deployments of this thing we are talking here, about that. Take note of the price movement. Take note of look for alternative sources. Take of alternative markets. You might be surprised. You can get cheaper price somewhere else that you never even thought about before. Then be careful before you overstock, because the price can change overnight, and so that you don't burn your fingers. Then think of your storage facilities. Think about the storage implications, all those things. Think about the probable shelf life of your products. How long can this thing be, or even of your materials? How long can I store this? How long can I keep this without them going bad, or them be stolen, or them become obsolete? So those are the factors you have to take into consideration. It may look a bit complicated, but that is the thickness that makes you an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not a tea party. It's something that requires a lot of deliberate actions, deliberate input, by producer. So take note of all this we have shared in this video, and if you have further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are battling with inflation now, but we can't, because of that, stop producing. We can't, because of that, stop selling. So know which market you operate. Do you produce to other, in which case people are specific, ask you for a specific thing to produce for them, or do you produce to the market, whereby you produce whatever you produce, you take it to the open market to sell them, or even if it is distributors that come to evacuate your production, you are still producing to markets. You are not producing to other. So thank you for being with me again on this journey. We will continue to do this as much as we have the grace and the privilege to do it, to be your companion on the journey to run a successful business. That should be our desired ultimate goal, to run profitable and successful business. Over time, over a long period of time. By attaining that going concern, as the accountant will say, of our business, even running an intergenerational or multi-generational business over a period of time. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Thank you for my subscriber. Thank you for those comments that do come in once in a while. I appreciate you all. And do not forget to share this with your friends and your business associates. Let them also drink from this. Thank you.